one of the initiatives which caught the imagination in the recent past is India-Middle-East-Europe Economic Corridor. And it was launched on the sidelines of G20 in New Delhi in 2023. Can you provide us what is the background for this? What is the geopolitics? Because one of the things that we hear is there is a concern in Europe, and also some countries see it as an opportunity that the Arctic sea lanes are opening up. How have the European countries seen this phenomenon of Arctic sea lanes, and does it have any connection with India, Middle East, Europe Economic Corridor?
I think the competition of sea lanes has been the history of human trade. So if you go to see whether the fall of Egypt to the Rashidun Caliphates at a time where Roman dominance was decreasing, or you see the fall of Constantinople to the Ottomans, I think it was all, an attempt to control trade, and who controls trade routes controls power. There is a strong push by China and Russia to control the Arctic route, which could or could not happen given the climatic conditions, given the fact that it's not necessarily feasible for use 12 months of the year. I think there is a push very strongly by these two powers because they want to create a sea lane that is independent of others despite the cost. I think there is an environmental cost to be paid, which is huge. There is definitely concern in Europe about the Mediterranean and the Mediterranean's role towards the Atlantic. There's also a big challenge with the failed states in the Bab el-Mandab and in the Red Sea, which have been in the news very recently. So whether it is Somalia, whether it's Eritrea, whether it is Yemen on the other side of the Bab el-Mandab, these are countries, and these are 20, 30-year-old stories, so this is not anything new, which have challenged modern trade routes. In the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor, to me, is a vision that comes out of Delhi with strong support from the United States then. I think the whole concept was to future-proof India's trade routes, both to Europe and eventually the United States on one end. But on the other end, at the same time, even though it was not expressed as an actual trade route, India went ahead with BeamStec on the east as a part of its Look East policy, where it created another very open line of trade, which is still blocked now because of Bangladesh and a series of other problems east. But these are India's future-proof routes to establish its centrality in the Indo-Pacific, which is absolutely important if India needs to become a superpower. I think the roads from Europe to Far East pass through India, and how India manages this is the reflection in IMEC, is the reflection in BeamStec. Of course, there are challenges like the Arctic route that will come and go. There is the middle trade route that the Chinese have tried to establish that comes by train. I think the problem with China's approach is that they're owned by China, they're paid for by China, they're pushed by China, and China likes to control them. India's approach is more Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world is one family, everybody pitches in, it's very, very collaborative. The Saudis will do something, the Israelis will do something, the Emiratis will do something. It's an approach that takes much longer time and may not guarantee you results, but it is an approach that creates ownership by stakeholders and creates that family concept. So I think it's more democratic and more sustainable in the long run. I don't like, I doubt, forced, singularly owned ego trips are sustainable in the long run. So I would rather say the IMEC would be a long-term success, even though there are short-term issues.